each and every month, on the last Wednesday of a month at 12:15, we have what we call this family gathering. And then every month there's a different topic that we discuss. So the format of today and every family gathering is the following. We normally have a presentation by someone, either Anton or myself or Maxi or some of the staff or maybe some external person. That would take about 30 minutes. And then we will give 15 minutes time for questions and answers. Or maybe we can just have a chat, or maybe have something that you're wondering about. All right, so we will take approximately then 45 minutes. So we aim to finish at 1 o'clock today. If you have to go, you're welcome. As I said, we do record this and it will be up on the members portal. So without further ado, this is a very relevant topic. I'm sure everybody knows about the unfortunate event that took place, which should never happen. And any loss of life is a problem for everybody, and we mourn that. So Anton, thank you again for speaking about this topic and for empowering us as ECD owners and principals in a way that we can be better off, that our school may be functioning better as well and be more secure and more safe. All right, so over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arno, and good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be able to make contact with you in this way, and let us speak about a very, very important situation. So, Arno, I'm going to share screen at this point in time, and then we'll go over to my PowerPoint, which I have. Let me just get my. There you are. I've
yes,
got
perfect.
Everything. Yeah, great stuff. Right, so we are speaking about injury and death prevention strategies. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me say to you that a death of a child in a nursery school or a very, very serious injury it's not every day that you hear about that. So it's not a prevalent situation, but you never know when something like that can happen in your school. So while nothing has happened yet, and this is a very, very, very traumatic situation. I know that school, that the last death that was reported a week or so ago, the Department of Basic Education gave them a closing notice to close down permanently, but it seems also as if they're using the Children's Act because that school was not registered. But fact is that every death or every serious injury for the past 9 years, I've been doing a study looking exactly at what's going on, what happened, why did it happen, and what could have been done so that maybe that could have been prevented. So I'm going to run through a PowerPoint with you and then just show you some strategies and some thoughts and just kind of probe you again, just kind of let you start thinking about health and safety, or safety especially, we're speaking of today, in your class or in your school. So let's have a look at that at this point. The national norms and standards, you must remember that we are under the Children's Act, Act number 38 of 2005. In the preamble of this act, it states a nursery school or ECD center or preschool, or call it what you may, must be, it's a law, must be a safe environment for children. Many times we think that, yeah, because the parent signs a waiver or signs whatever, we are okay, but you are not, because it's a law. It's a legal obligation that you have to make sure it's a safe environment for the children that's there. Accidents are the leading cause of death or permanent disabilities. The accidents can happen. An accident, we'll give you the definition of an accident in a minute, but an accident is driven by curiosity and impulsive behavior. Doesn't that sound like a ECD center or a preschool? Curiosity and impulsive behavior, that's what the kids have, and that's normal for children to have. But we cannot always anticipate, but we should. I always say people working in a nursery school should be able to think. And then I say, you should not only be able to think about what has happened, but you have to think about what is happening at the moment, and you have to think about what may happen. That's the anticipation of possible consequences of what the children are doing. And that is very important. So we must establish and practice high standards of safety so that at the end of the day, if something does happen, we have done everything in our power, everything to our knowledge, that made sure that children will not get harmed, or they will not have an injury, or they will not die in our schools. But fact is that sometimes you just get something that people call an act of God, like in insurance. It's just something that happens. You cannot, nobody knows, you couldn't do anything to prevent it, most probably. But we have to anticipate, and we have to preempt, and we have to have good standards of safety, and we have to have good rules and regulations in terms of safety in our schools. Now, what is an accident? The term accident refers to an unplanned and unexpected event. But accidents are very many times, accidents are caused by carelessness. If you didn't think about motor car accidents and what have you, it's carelessness. People are on their cell phones while they're driving. God forbid, but some people are texting while they drive and they have an accident. It's their carelessness that resulted in the harm or injury. So we must make very sure that in our schools, our staff members are trained and know, and we've got enough knowledge that we do not allow carelessness, people doing their own little thing while the kids are not under supervision, etc. Accident prevention can only be put into place. Accident prevention, as far as we can prevent, can only be put in place if the children, the teachers and caregivers have the ability to know what the developmental skills of the children are and to anticipate their actions. So a child of 2 cannot hang on the highest bar of the jungle gym or the monkey bars or what. You can anticipate that that's going to they most probably going to fall. What causes accidents? Falls, toys, choking, and then babies choking with milk or reflux or whatever. Burns, poison, burns. In one school, a lady decided to have a kettle in her classroom to make her own tea, and while the kettle was boiling, a baby pulled on the electrical wire, and the kettle of cooking, it was boiling at that time, but very hot water fell over the child. Poisons. One school had thrown out some rat poison on a Friday afternoon when the kids were gone, but forgot to pick the rest up on the Monday morning. 3 children, 8 of those that rat poison, 2 of them died. Again, that stuff that if we are not careless, this is all stuff, the burns and the poisons and the things we have seen, the falls, and I'll tell you about that just now when we get to supervision. Okay, so, and then tools, the gardener is working in the garden while the children are playing there. He's got the spade and he's got a fork and he's got a lot of tools there that he's working with, and some shears. He's cutting leaves, and now the kids are running up and down past his wheelbarrow and over it and onto it and stuff like that. Playground equipment is something that a lot of harm comes from playground equipment. Sharp objects, and then of course playmates. That also causes, the one pushes the other one off the jungle gym or just whatever they can do there. So that's the kind of stuff we have to watch out for. What are the conditions that increase the likelihood of accidents? Well, there are 2 things that I really want to bring to your attention. 2 things. The first is if there's a shortage of staff members that have to supervise. That's the greatest reason why things happen that shouldn't happen. I walked into a nursery school a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, and they had about 105 kids at that point on the playground. And when I got onto the playground, I walked in, somebody opened the gate for me, the office did, and I walked in, I was looking for the owner. And as I walked onto past the playground, I saw there was no one there. And then when I looked around the corner, where is the staff that's doing playground duty? I saw there was a lady sitting in a corner on a chair in a little sunny corner, and her head was kind of dipped. The nice winter sun was warming her up. And I thought, my God, that cannot be. Cannot be that people are so careless that that whole group of children only has one person to supervise them. So shortage of staff members is it's number 1. The second is that the rules have not been explained carefully. And I'll come to rules just now. There are 3 different aspects of rules that need to be made, and those rules need to be taught to the children, and the children need to be supervised that they adhere to those rules, especially the safety rules that is included in that. Now, we must understand something that is not possible to prevent all accidents. You can have good care, and sometimes there's just circumstances, it just happens. No amount of planning can prevent a child slipping or falling, but good safety principles can and will reduce the number and seriousness if you've got good principles that you apply. One of the things is we have to start with the classroom. In the classroom, cover the power points with heavy isolation tape or fit a dummy plug. Don't have open power points. Many of the schools are houses, residential homes that has been turned into a nursery school, and you've got all those power aspects there and plugs that is very low. If it's purposely built, the plugs will be right high up somewhere and the kids won't be able to get there. No power appliance may be plugged in unless the plug in the cord is not in reach of the children. I've walked into many schools and I see that the fan or the TV or whatever is plugged in right at the bottom and the wire is just hanging against the wall. No, you have to have that in. You have to make sure that the plug is boxed and that you've got conduit that the wires go up to your electrical appliances. And then also in the classroom, make sure that you remove obstacles children can trip on. Go and have a look at your classroom. Check it out. Make sure, because sometimes there can just be something, Of course, we have a rule. One of the rules are children don't run in the class. We may not run in class. Those of you who have done my 202 class, my 202 course, will know about that, the classroom rules. So we don't run, but make sure there's no obstacles children can trip on. That's very important as well. Arrange your classroom so that you can see all the children. We use these plastic tables, and the 4 children sit at the table, but if 4 children sit at that table, one child is always sitting with their back towards you. You can't see what they're doing, what they're putting in their mouth, what they're stuffing in their nose, beads that they stuff in their nose and stuff like that, or what, you cannot see them. So arrange your seating, use one table for 3 children, so that way on the side that you're standing, you can see all of them, they can see all of you. Children are very strange. If they don't see you, you're not there. And their behavior will be as if you're not there. And then the second thing is look around for in your classroom. When you go after this session, go into your classrooms, look around. Are there any unstable bookcases? One little child prior to this one that died last week, there was one little child that also died in a school because they got up some big bookcase and the bookcase was loose against the wall and the bookcase fell over and fell on this child and the child died. So again, unstable, anything unstable, make sure if you have some if you've got books or something in bookcases, make sure that the bookcase is wide at the bottom. Make sure that the heavy stuff is on the bottom and the light stuff is on top. And if you can, you should, if it's against the wall, put a little screw in the wall with a little iron bar that holds the bookcase to the wall. Okay, so then there's toy safety, not only classroom safety, but toys that we use in the classroom. When you use a toy for a baby or a toddler, it must be strong enough. They mustn't be able to bite stuff off. It must be able to withstand chewing, because children look at stuff with their hands and their eyes, but also with their mouths. And make sure that your soft toys doesn't have sharp ends or small parts like eyes or wheels or buttons that can pull loose. Kids, if you can see them, small babies, they have these nice soft toys and they'll start pecking at the eyes and trying to get them loose. It just is something like that. No strings in your classroom longer than 18 centimeters, because that can go around the neck. There was a young boy that hooked himself by a drawstring on his jacket not long ago, a couple of months ago, and he was hanging from the he was hanging from, I think it was from a jungle gym or something, and he was in hospital. It was very serious. I know we prayed a lot for that little boy, and we were on top of the whole thing, how easy, and he did recover, which was great. But sometimes something like that can happen. They shouldn't have these drawstrings. They shouldn't have jackets on with drawstrings. I mean, there's a lot of common sense stuff here that you can just look at a child's clothing. I mean, little girls, when they go play on the jungle gym, shouldn't have dresses that go right down to their feet or their ankles, because they can just tramp on it, and that can make them to fall. So we have to watch out for that. No marbles, coins, balls, and games. If there are no balls, there are 4.4 centimeter or less, because that can go into the mouth of a child, and it can be lodged in the throat above the windpipe, and that child can then not get any breath and can choke with that. Then still toy safety, many non-toys can tempt kids. Now, I know we have to keep them away from stuff like plastic bags. Sometimes the checkers bag blows over the fence. You have to go and check out your playground before you let the kid go in there in the morning. Matches shouldn't be in there. The children shouldn't go into. One of the rules are children may never, ever, 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 never enter the kitchen. They shouldn't be there because there's boiling water, there's food, there may be matches or whatever. So any sharp scissors. So there mustn't be a sharp scissor. Even not teacher must have one on a desk. I know for the kids, we give the ones with the round points. No balloons, because they suck in the balloons and it can burst and go into their windpipe. You have to do a bag search every day. If you're really serious about security or safety, then you'll do a bag search. There was one school where a child got onto the toilet, and the high-hanging curtains set them alight with a lighter, or these ones that you use for a braai fire, and set them alight. And fortunately, when they kind of saw what he's doing before the building started catching fire, but he brought a lighter from the home and put it in his bag. And then in the bag, when he put it in the bag, he went and took it out, and now he's looking for something that he could set alight. Now, don't scratch or search the bag while the parent is standing there. They will think that you are trying to take the child's sweeties or biltong or whatever that they packed in, so don't do that. But at least when the parent is gone, just go through the bag. Just go through the bag. Make sure there's nothing that dangerous that has come with. Then no battery-operated toys should be used in a nursery school. Battery and battery fluid has a serious risk. Not only choking, but internal bleeding. And I know of children, I know of a little girl that was in a nursery school a couple of years ago that swallowed one of these little round flat batteries that looked like a coin. And after 2 or 3 days, they only found out about it, or only realized what it is. And then she already had the acid burnt through intestines, and she got sepsis, and eventually she died. So no battery operated toys, no batteries and stuff and so on. I see there are some companies that make these little coin like batteries now, and they put something on it that's very bad tasting. So if a child does put it in their mouth, that they'll spit it out immediately. And I like that kind of safety feature in that, but we shouldn't have that there. Then what is some general childcare safety stuff? Work with trained staff members. Work with people that have the training, know what to do, when to do it. So you must have enough employees, we said that, to supervise the children, that they can be monitored. And then additionally, you have to require your staff. You know, the Children's Act says your staff should be trained in CPR and first aid and firefighting. Of course, we also do these courses for our members, but they must have first aid and they must have CPR. All staff need to have Form 29 clearance, which is the Sexual Offenders Register. To also, that's not for injury or death, but that's for some other stuff. But it's part of the legal responsibility that you have, is to get a Form 29 clearance for all your staff members. Nobody may work in a nursery school unless they have that clearance, and we can help you with that as well. We can do that for you. And then all staff need to have some form of ECD training. That's why we have all our short courses. The one course that I love is the positive discipline. Our courses 101 to 505. So the positive discipline also assists in being a safe teacher or a safe assistant. Now, with general childcare safety, there must be rules. I said that just now. And we must teach the rules to the children. In the very first instance, there must be some rules about school safety. How the kids enter the school or go out the school, the gate, the lockup, who fetches them. There must be school safety rules, and those safety rules must be adhered to. Sign in, sign out, whatever you have, that's very important. And the next one is there must be classroom safety rules. You know, when we make the rules, I quoted the rule just now. We must not run in class. It's something you have to drill in them. They should not run in class. That's one of the safety rules, and there may be some other, but you have to sit the children down. And every morning you must let them stand up and put their hand to their heart, and they have to recite the 2 or 3 or 4 classroom rules that you have and that you want them to adhere to. So that they can learn that. When somebody does transgress and not follow the rule, the children will quickly call them to order. Hey, you can't do that. That's against our rules. And the moment somebody breaks a rule, you stop everything, let the class stand up, put their hands on their hearts, and they start reciting the rules all together again so that it can just go in, you know, repetitiveness. We know that you have to repeat and repeat and repeat, and they start learning. And then, of course, we should have playground safety rules. I've asked all over, but I don't know of many schools that will take their children outside class by class, sit them around, for instance, the jungle gym or the swings or whatever, the monkey bars or whatever, sit them around it and say, okay, kids, before you go on this now today, I want to teach you, teacher wants to teach you how you can use this and play safely. Okay, so there must be rules, playground safety rules. You don't slide down the slide, and when you finish sliding down, then you crawl up the slide to get to the top, because the guy standing on top is not going to wait for you. He's going to slide also, and he'll hit you halfway, and you and him will come down the slide, and there will be some injury there as well. So we have to teach them. We have to teach them, sit them around. If a child falls from a jungle gym and they break their arm, and they come back to school with a plaster of Paris on their arm, that's a wonderful teaching moment. Sit the class around the jungle gym, get this little kid to tell his story. Now I was standing up there and I didn't look, and I fell off, or pity pushed me, you know, or I'm not sure if you should say that. They let them say it, but in any case, so you can use that as a teachable moment. We have, I understand that when we get to supervision, that these rules then have to be adhered to. Now, when you get new children, a new child is added onto the school, then before that child really, or in the first day that they are in class, before they go and play outside, somebody has to take that one child or those 2 children and take them to the playground and say, okay, here is the jungle gym. This is our rules. Just small little rules, man. No, not big and 20 rules, 1 or 2. And here is the swings, and this is our rules, and here is this. And then every now and then you'll take your whole class and take them through all the rules again. That is important that we should do that. Keep the chemicals locked away from the children. That's that's obvious that you should do that. They'll drink anything that's yellow or green or whatever. Then have an emergency plan in place. Your fire and disaster drills must be done on a regular basis so that they know the procedures and they automatically go, and your teachers know it. You have to have an evacuation plan posted against your wall. Each classroom must have an evacuation plan. You must have a plan for your whole school. If you don't have one, speak to us. We'll help you to get that one together. I also have a gunfire plan, which is something similar. You don't evacuate, but inside the classroom, there's specific rules that you have to follow. You have to have somebody that's your disaster management or manager that has to be in charge and know exactly where's what and how the stuff is. And then if you have a plan, you should also have your equipment in place. There must be your fire extinguishers must be there. There's a lot of other equipment. For instance, we've got a little plastic thing that we've or rubber thing rather that we import from overseas. If a child does choke with something in their mouth and you can't get it out, with a normal first aid way, then you can use this instrument. It sucks it out. So if you want to have something like that or whatever, then that's the equipment. You must know where it is and have it in place. This is what your evacuation plan should look like. Each classroom should go out in a certain manner, a certain way. They should all go to a certain place, and there should be an exit, and they should go out there. Now, when we come to the playground, the one thing I want you to see here, while I put this picture in here, I want you to see what is the fall area of this toy, of this setup that they have here. The fall area is on sand, not grass. Grass is very hard if you fall on grass, not paving. Now, what happened with one little boy who also died, I think a year or year and a half ago, he climbed up the outside of the jungle gym, right up to the top where the shade net was and the pipe for the shade net. And he wanted to try and sit on that pipe. He slipped and he fell off there. And because the jungle gym was standing on a paving, he fell with his head on the paving, had the brain bleeding. And the next morning he was not alive anymore. He had deceased or passed away. But again, there I'm saying that if we do supervision correctly, and I'll tell you something about that now, but make sure your fall areas, on what are they falling? And that sand shouldn't be sandpit sand. It's too fine. You should have as rough, like a river sand or something that gives way a little bit when they walk on it. Okay. So playground safety. We said about the equipment, the adult supervision is extremely important. I'm saying that if the staff do playground duty on playground duties, then one staff member must be every place where there's some dangerous, or where there can be some danger, or maybe some danger, or whatever. A staff member should sit or stand there. They can have a chair there. I'm just thinking about this kid that fell off the jungle gym. If there was a teacher sitting right there that did supervision, and she would tell him when he starts climbing on the outside, no, Chepu, no, my friend, we don't climb on the outside. You know what our rules are. Come on, come. No, go in. This is on the ladder, whatever. Maybe, just maybe, I'm not saying it would have been, but maybe his death could have been prevented if there was a teacher standing right there. So I'm saying teachers shouldn't huddle in a corner when you do playground duty. They should be distributed all over the playground to see what the kids are doing, to check what the kids are doing and how are they working. You have to see what's going on the playground. You can't sit there and talk about your boyfriend or your husband that's nasty with you or whatever. You have to look at the children. That's your job. When you are on the playground, that's your job. And that's why you never have a cell phone on the playground. You don't text, you don't whatever. The kids must also know how to be safe and act responsible. So you must also teach them. But adult supervision, that is the key. Adult supervision, not only here, but also in the classroom or also with some other kids. So teach your kids never to push or play rough while on the jungle gym slides or swings and so on. Just teach them. Now, again, teaching kids how to play safely is important, but adult supervision, guys, adult supervision on the playground will help prevent injuries. You must make sure there's adult supervision. Then young kids, and sometimes older ones, they can't gauge distances properly. They'll jump from one bar to another bar, but they won't get to the next bar, and they'll just fall. I'm nearly finished. I'm just going to take a couple of minutes more. Older kids like to test their limits on the playground, so there must be an adult to keep them in check to make sure they're not going to hurt themselves. So again, if you have a playground, if you can, have it in 3 different age groups or 3 different playgrounds: infant, toddlers under 2, 2 to 5, and 5 to 6-year-old. Okay. And then with baby care, blankets, quilts, pillows can obstruct a baby's airway. And this is where a lot of stuff happens in the baby classroom. Children choke in milk that they bring up after they've had a bottle. Children, their airways are obstructed if the mattresses are too small and they roll over and their face goes between the mattress and the cot, etc. Let the baby sleep on their back, not on their stomach or side. If they sleep on their back, the American Association of Pediatricians has put in this rule, and a lot of the sudden infant death syndrome has gone away. My closing remarks: have a safety audit done of your school buildings, your kitchen, your dining area, your playground. Now, you know that we do virtual audits, safety audits and evaluation, and we'll even give you a report about that. And as a member, this is one of your member privileges, that we give this to you for free at this point in time. So if you want a virtual safety audit done of your school, make contact with us, send us a mail on info@SA Childcare, and we'll make sure we do that and we give that for you. Have a safe future. May God bless you and the function, your work, and your children, and keep them safe. That is really the prayer of my heart. Thank you very much, Arno.
All right, thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate, and it is really important topic. So we have a bit of time for questions if you like. We're not going to linger along too much. So if you have questions, please add them. This family gathering is for you, to make you stronger, and to make your ECD center a more safe environment. So let's go to some of the questions that I see. You mentioned the suction device when a child chokes. Where could that be found, or where can you buy that?
Yeah, you can just ask again on info@sachildcare.net. We don't have them in our shop, on our website yet, because we don't have all that much inventory. We just get little groups at a time. But if we have some orders, we'll order for you and we'll get it through to you. So just pop us a mail at info, and we'll make sure that we order and we get one for you.
Okay. Next one is a Total Child asked if we could get handouts. Yes, we have recorded this meeting, so this would then be put onto the members portal, or I'll even put it on the WhatsApp group, the link, so you can click on it and you'll be able to watch this family gathering as well. Next one, what can I do about teachers who, even after written warnings, meetings and verbal warnings, still don't supervise when I am not looking?
Oh, no, I can answer that. It's very easy. You contact Hans, which is our labor expert, and you fire them. It's easy. It's as easy as that. Your responsibility is to keep your school safe. And if a person does not do their work after warnings by warnings, and you've helped them and taught them and showed them the way, please just get rid of them. And Hans will help you how to fire them. And we'll show you what the methodology is, your 3 written warnings for the same thing, then you can just fire them. You can't do anything with somebody that's not teachable. I'm looking at the same thing here. Is one of the questions, or one of the things that one of you guys said, is teachers is on their phone while they watch kids playing, or teachers studying while they have to watch the children. You can't have that. You have to warn them, give them a written warning. And if you've given them 3 written warnings, hopefully they'll understand after the first written warning. They cannot do that, because their job and their responsibility and your responsibility is that there must be 100% supervision all the time.
All right, next question. Thank you for that. How often do you do virtual audits? So, Dikeledi, how it works is, if you are interested in doing the virtual audit with us, you just send us an email to info@sachildcare.net and ask for the virtual audit. Our officers will then be in contact with you, and the way it works is it's a WhatsApp virtual or video call. But before that, there's a form that we send to you. You fill out that form, and then we do a walkthrough, or virtual walkthrough with you on your phone and us here in the office, and then we will have a look through on each and every area of your playground and your kitchen and so forth. And then what we will do is we compile a report. And then that report then gets sent back to you and say, right, this is your risk areas, and this is what you can look at. This areas is wonderful already, and so forth. And remember, we're not the police. We're here to support you. So the whole idea of this virtual assessment really is to empower you and to make your ECD center a safer environment. So yes, if you need that virtual assessment, info@sachildcare.net.
Okay, Arno, I just want to mention something. Dikele asked the question, is the Form 29 clearance done at the police station? No. That's a police clearance, but a police clearance is only valid for 6 months. A Form 29 clearance is done with the Department of Social Development, and they have to give clearance. Once you've got clearance for your staff member, it stays on file and it's fine. It doesn't lapse, it doesn't fall. So every time you add another person working for you, then I know there's a lot of problems that people have with the handing in of the Form 29, but we can help you with that. You can contact the office, we will help you.
All right. And the Form 29s for members as well, you get it at a discounted rate. So I'm not too sure. I think it's about 80 Rand or even less for contributing members to get that done. You send it to us and we do everything, and then you'll just get the results. All right. Next question. Can we get a copy of the PowerPoint presentation, Sue? I will put on the videos, and on the videos, the PowerPoint is already there. So I think that should suffice. If not, and you want it, send us an email. And then we will get that to you. Next one, the clearance. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Somebody said that, Sophie said, I'm concerned about playground safety. Our surface is not appropriate. Is there somebody that can do rubber playground? Well, to rubberize your whole playground, that's very expensive. But what people do is they take these, they get the mats, the same they use for gymnastics. But somebody takes some, you have some foam inside, and it is covered by a heavy duty plastic that is UV protected. And then you pack these mats around the stuff that you play with. You must also remember that your playground equipment should be at least 3.5 meters apart from one another, or away from one another, so one doesn't fall off the one on the other, and children are not tempted to jump from the one to the other. But this is one thing you can do, or otherwise you can build you can build something around it with and then put sand in there, and the sand at least has to be about 200 to 300 millimeters deep. Thank you, Arno.
Yes, what we have found is that the cheapest way to get to compliance is to have that river sand, and that will be sufficient as well. Look, part of the virtual assessment is this types of things where we tell you the 3.5 meters between devices or equipment. So again, I invite you to do the virtual assessment. It's free of charge for members, so that we could then give you that information that you need. Right, next one. Where exactly must one sit while watching kids in the playground?
Yeah, I believe you have to sit where they can see you and where you can see them. that's a rule. They must be able to see you, and you must be able to see them, all of them. And if you can't see all of them, there must be a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth member of the school, or assistant or teacher, so that all children can be in the eye of someone all the time, so you can see what they're doing and how they're doing that.
Right, and then lastly, thank you, Rachel, for your compliment. Indeed, the assessment is an excellent evaluation, says Rachel, and she learned so much. So please make use of this service that we supply to you. If there's no further questions, if you have a last one to sneak in, we can handle that. If not, you're welcome to leave now, and it's 3 minutes to 1, so I wish we're pretty much still on time. Thank you for attending today, and before we go, then Anton would just like to have last remarks.
Yeah, I just believe that someone has asked a question, how do I add myself? And that's where all the, if it's for the Form 29, if you're the owner, you have to fill in a Form 30, not a 29. 29 is for the staff, but the Form 30 goes the same route with us. If you mean, how do you add yourself for an evaluation, that's just info@shchildcare.net, and we'll help you with that. Thank you, Arno. Thank you very much.
Just to be explanatory, Form 29s is for your staff, and Form 30s is for you as the owner. And that forms, contact us. We have copies of those forms as well. You can submit them yourself to the department in Pretoria. That obviously costs nothing. If you would like us to do it, then we'll send you the forms. You fill it in with your ID copy as well. Every staff member's ID copy as well as the owner, and then we will get that sent to Pretoria. All right, that's all from us for this month. Please remember, same place, same time, last Wednesday of every month, 12:15. where we will then be discussing our new topic, and we will send that through to you a day or two in advance. Have a wonderful afternoon, and yeah, that's it from us. Over and out.